Okay, so have you ever looked at a resume and just gotten the feeling that you weren't seeing the whole picture? Well, today we're going to do a little detective work. We're going to deconstruct a real-world professional profile and see how the paper trail can reveal some pretty surprising truths, if you just know where to look. Our investigation kicks off with what looks like the perfect piece of evidence, a glowing reference letter. This is the kind of thing that makes a hiring manager's eyes just light up. It paints a picture of a totally ideal candidate, right? But is that really the whole story? So, at first glance, the story seems pretty open and shut. We've got a star employee here, all set for their next big role. The resume tells a simple, powerful story of pure excellence. But, as we're about to find out, the simplest stories, well, they're often the most misleading. All right, let's really dig into the evidence that builds this perfect first impression of our subject, Nicholas Jackets. We have to remember, an application is always a curated story. What we're seeing first is always the highlight reel. And wow, his employer, Schnapcom, is not holding back. They clearly loved his work. I mean, phrases like complete satisfaction and full recognition, that's the kind of language that gets you hired on the spot. And this right here shows you why they were so blown away. Just look at this range of responsibilities. Everything from creative design to technical data security. This isn't just a to-do list, folks. This is a massive vote of confidence. They basically trusted him with the keys to the kingdom. But here's where our nice, neat story starts to get a little messy. A new piece of evidence enters the picture, and suddenly we've got a major puzzle on our hands. And this, my friends, is where our investigation really begins. So we have to ask the obvious question, right? A fantastic work reference is one thing, but what about the flip side of the coin? What does his academic record from that time have to say? So on the left, you've got that glowing reference we just talked about, and on the right, his final school certificate from the exact same time period. And yeah, the contrast is, well, it's pretty striking, isn't it? I mean, the difference is just jarring. You have this incredible professional praise right next to these kind of mediocre and even poor academic grades. So how does that happen? How are you a total rock star at your job, but deficient in a class that's all about that job? And as we dig a little deeper, the plot just thickens. We find a teacher's comment about his conduct. So this isn't just about him struggling with the material. It's about his whole vibe in the classroom. So this is it. This is the central mystery. Who is the real Nicholas Jaquititz? Is he the star employee or the struggling student? Or, and this is the important part, are these documents just two sides of the same, much more complicated story? To find the answer, we've got to rewind. We need to go even further back in his file. A lot of the time, the key to understanding a conflict in the present is hidden in the past. So let's see what other clues we can find about his educational journey. Now, this timeline, this is a huge clue. Check this out. He completed a high-level, specialized diploma from the SAE Institute before he even started this apprenticeship. Just let that sink in for a second. He was already highly skilled before his training even began. That is definitely not the typical career path. And, you guessed it, the records from this earlier education paints a completely different picture. This isn't just another report card. This is his grade sheet for a super technical thesis project from a really well-respected creative media institute. And just look at that grade, 81%. That's a solid good on a really demanding technical thesis. So wait a minute. Now we have evidence that he is clearly capable of strong academic performance. What is going on here? And it wasn't a one-off. In another hands-on project, his grades were consistently high, especially in presentation, a total 180 from his later school performance. The pattern is starting to emerge, isn't it? He crushes it when it comes to practical, project-based work. Okay, so here's the key. We have to understand how all these different pieces of evidence fit together. They aren't actually contradictory, they're clues. And to see the full picture, we need some context. And this system is that key piece of context. It's a dual education system, which means you've got hands-on training at a company happening at the exact same time as theoretical classes at a school. Think of it like two parallel tracks, and a person can perform very, very differently on each one. The conflict in his records isn't really about him as a person. It's about the difference between these two ways of learning and performing. He absolutely thrives when he's doing things, and he struggles when he's just studying the theory behind them. So when you lay it all out like this, side by side, the pattern just jumps out at you. High achievement in practical, hands-on work, and struggles in a structured, theoretical classroom. The puzzle is solved. The narrative is finally clear. So what's the big takeaway from all this? I mean, why does this matter for anyone looking at a resume or even just building their own career? Because this isn't just a story about Nicholas. It's a story about how we perceive talent itself. The documents don't contradict each other at all. They reveal a specific type of learner, one whose talent shines brightest when they can actually apply it to real-world tasks. He's a practitioner, not a theoretician. And what's really cool is that this whole case gives us a powerful 4-step method that you can use. The next time you're looking at a resume or even your own career path, you can use this exact process to deconstruct the profile and find the real story hiding inside the data. So what does this all tell us? It suggests that our traditional markers of success, like grades, might actually be blinding us to some incredible talent. Maybe the most valuable people aren't the ones who aced every test, but the ones who can't wait to get out of the classroom and start building things. Which leaves us with a really big question: are we even looking for talent in the right places?